First of all, hoop wars were invented in the Banford gym, not in your backyard. Second of all, that singlet and that picture, he said he will model that for you later. Jeremy, I have his son on my JV soccer team, and last week we were playing OFA, and he comes to the game at OFA in all royal blue outfits, sweatpants, jacket. The cheerleaders, honest to God, asked him if he wanted to hold up a sign that said, "Go OFA." I couldn't believe it. The guy is amazing. I thank Michelle for accepting for him. Those two were made in heaven. They were just made for each other because the guy loves to say things that embarrass her, and she loves to roll her eyes, so they're made for each other. Our next inductee is two sports team, the 1987 and 1988 boys lacrosse team. Presenting for them is Dave Bredman, Brooke Coburn, and Tim Northrup.
Good evening. Welcome. Congratulations to the inductees, to the coaches, parents, and friends. Even though Coach Riggs and Mike Wentworth like to confuse the fact that I give the longest speeches, I will continue my ways, despite what they think, and deliver my presentation speech. They're not that long anyhow. I'd like to start by recognizing and acknowledging the contributions of Frank Shields, who co-founded the Boys Lacrosse program with Lou Salcelli. Both of them have been acknowledged by the Hall of Fame. And Frank also started the Girls Lacrosse program here. He's responsible for positively impacting the lives of countless young people and coaches throughout his career. Frank was a friend, a mentor, and his contributions will impact athletes for generations. Frank passed away this past November, and he is greatly missed by family and friends and by me. I'll mention a little bit more later on in the talk here. I'm happy to be here and to recognize the inductees, but I'm not sure about that 30 years that has passed since I coached here, since I coached that 87 team. It just doesn't seem like it's been that long. I'm reminded of a quote from one of my favorite sports philosophers, Yogi Berra, who said, "The future ain't what it used to be." You have to think about that one for a minute. Anyhow, some of the guys look like they can still play, and I definitely would like to say that when I look back on it, that I certainly wouldn't be able to coach the way I did back then. I am still coaching, but not high school boys lacrosse. As it wasn't uncommon for me to end a lacrosse practice with a wrestling match against Gator. And he claims I never got the best of him, but that is not true. I do have proof that I got him down at least once. If he was here at the presentation, which we anticipated him being here, I'm sure he would challenge me to a rematch. I think I've gotten to the point where I would not take him up on that. He was just like a big bear cub. He was always kind of bumping into me and always trying to, antagonize me into some sort of a physical confrontation. When I told my wife about that, Tisha, she said, "What are you doing? You're going to get fired." And I said, "It doesn't make any difference. This is a matter of my reputation. I'm not going to stop here." So I wish he was here. I really wanted to make a few personal comments to him afterward. I have to admit that I probably had more fun coaching them than I should have. It was no secret that I was not a disciplinarian, at least, and I'm not bragging about that. It's just that was more my temperament. I just enjoyed what I was doing, and the easygoing atmosphere didn't bother me. The disciplines that I taught them were respect, fairness, and dignity. And when it came time to work, they worked, and they were very talented athletes. You've seen or listened to Coach Riggs talk about John playing lacrosse as well as wrestling and soccer. And the guys on these teams, and by the way, I'm combining my presentation for 87 and 88. A lot of them played on both teams. Were very talented. The football team and soccer team and basketball team and several wrestlers, cross-country runners, a lot of them are in the Hall of Fame individually, and those teams are also in the Hall of Fame. So it was a pretty special group. I would say that it was a good fit for me, landing here in '84 when I did, and then taking this lacrosse program over from Frank and Lou, and except for the dismay of Coach Howerhand, who seemed to think I was recruiting guys to play lacrosse instead of baseball, or Coach Cashley's angst at his potential track stars carrying sticks. Bottom line was Cashley and Howerhand were not going to be wrestling Gator, so they should be thanking me. We had a football team mentality on defense, hockey and basketball on offense, and soccer in transition. The combination of sports and athletes seemed to work well for us. Most opponents complained that we were too physical. I guess they didn't realize that it was a contact sport. Anyhow, we had the perfect response for that, which was crybabies. Don't get me wrong, we played within the rules most of the time. Some of my youthful competitiveness got the best of me. One game when we were down at IHC, we were playing in this park with the team. We were right next to the team, and Phil Royce was right opposite me in a pretty close game, and the guy that was next to him was jabbing him with a stick, and he looked at me and he was like, oh, see what he's doing? And I, in a thoughtless moment, said, take his head off. And I hardly got the words out of my mouth, and I turned around, and this nun had come out of the stands, and she had her finger in my face and said, that's not very good coaching. To which I was taken. I could take an angry official or a parent, but a nun disarmed me. I think I said something like, please get back into the stands, something like that, because she did leave, but I was floored. And you know, I mean, she called me out. I was really out of line. Fortunately, Phil didn't listen to me and didn't do anything drastic. But I appreciated the fact that we did play within the rules, and that we didn't really take anything from anybody else in terms of them trying to intimidate us. I have several stories to tell. I'm going to reserve most of them for the after gathering, just so that I don't go over my limit of, I don't know how long it was, 25 minutes or whatever it is. I had another occasion when we were in Albany. We were playing Albany Academy, and it was, you know, whenever we went out of the area, everybody thought that, you know, we had 5 teams in the league. We were the smallest section, lacrosse section in the state, that we really weren't going to pose much of a challenge. And, you know, that was a great position to be in, because we really had the goods. We had, you know, strength and skill and speed. We had everything. So we're down there in a game against Albany Academy, and Billy Baskin was in the goal. And I remember he outletted the ball to Furman, and Furman was a great athlete. He fired the ball probably 80 yards down the field, and on the other end is Tim Wendrick, who was like a hummingbird playing against a bunch of whooping cranes. There was no way anybody could stay with him. He moved so quick, and he caught the ball and shot it before anybody knew what was happening. And he did. He caught that ball. This is a true story. and scored, with seconds to go before the half, and we went on to beat them. But everybody on that field, when he caught that ball, it was just like, wow, that was impressive. And he did that. He did that a lot of times. Not that type of play, but just those kind of moves, quick and fast and effective. I think of so many times when I see these guys, I think of a lot of things that happen in the program. You can read about the accomplishment of the teams. The '87 team was the first team to advance to an interstate tournament. We beat Gowanda down in Syracuse, and then we went on at University of Rochester and played Penn Yan, which was the first of many meetings we had with Penn Yan. And at the beginning of the game, we were warming up, and the guy came out of the wherever they were, he was running a show down there, came up to me and said, "I'm sorry, we don't have anybody to sing the national anthem, so we're just going to do the lineups and get going." And Terry Crandall, who just sang the national anthem here, happened to be standing next to me, and he said, "Hey, Coach, I'll do that." And I went, "Well, okay." So he took off his helmet, he walked up to the top of the stadium at the University of Rochester, and he sang the national anthem. And in case you weren't aware of it, he's got the goods. That was an eye-opener, and it was a great game. We really we had a great game down there. We did not beat Penn Yan, but that started us on a run of year after year, really competitive teams. I'd like to read you you read the accomplishments of the program. I'd like to tell you more stories. I said I'll do that later on. I close by saying that at least 11 of the guys of these two teams went on to play collegiate lacrosse. 2 Division I players, 2 top Division III players. Tommy Ryan still holds records at Bowdoin College. We had several Empire State players, Tim Wenrick and Bill Bascom, high school All-Americans. Andy Whittier to the North-South game. We had several All-Northern players. We dominated the league both of those years. I also want to acknowledge Steve Shields. I don't know, or not Steve, but Jim Shields. Jim was an assistant coach here. It was Frank Shields' youngest son, who played at Notre Dame, and he came back after he graduated, and he was an assistant coach with us. I thought he was going to be here, but I know he was coming from a long way, so I guess that's not happening. And also Sparky Newman. Sparky, I don't know if he's here. I saw him at the football game today. Was our JV coach. Was really had a big impact on our success, building our teams up. We didn't have a modified team at that point, so he did a great job. So I'd like to introduce the players now, and if you guys could come up here, I'll do the 87 team first, and then the 88 team. I think we don't have that many players here, but I'll call up all the names of the players anyhow. Okay, so the 87 players, Bill Bascom, Joe Battaglia, Pat Collins, Terry Crandall is here. You can hang on to your applause till these guys all get up here. Chad Crosby, Greg Kraut, Dave Dively, Andy Furman, Kevin Fergal, Tim Gates, Kevin Harris, Leith Hunt, Corey Jordan. Corey's here, assistant football coach here. Franz Klausner, Mike McGurk, Tim Northrup was handing out the certificates. Phil Royce, one of our stand-up players here. Tom Ryan, I believe Tom was captain of that team. Spencer Segala, Terry Tibridge, Tim Wenrick, Wapper. Andy Whittier. Andy, I also had the pleasure of coaching some of these guys in football. Andy is a quarterback. Pete Whittier, his younger brother. Casey Woodford, Bill Dennis, and I believe that's everybody from that team. Okay. This, okay, so this includes Rod Klausner, Chad Crosby, Andy Furman, Phil Royce again, Brooke Coburn again, Billy Bascom, all teams, Corey Jordan, okay, Tim Wenrick, Pete Whittier, Tom Ryan, Leith Hunt, Mike McGurk, Greg Kraut, Pat Collins, Doug Ramsey, Timmy Youngs, who just retired as the boys coach here at Canton, Spencer Segala, Casey Woodford, Jeff Carl, Chris Coda, Dave DeGraff, Ben Schwartz, John Filiatro, Pat Martin, Pat Zagoli on that team too, and Rich Trudell, Dan McFarland, Wilbur Wisner, and Scott Dewey. And Brooke Coburn. Jessica, sorry. Mac.
Why are you sitting down here?
Actually, I'll be around. Jessica Coburn. All right. I don't know how I messed that one up, Jesse. Okay, so that's my introduction to this group there. I mean, when I see these guys, I can probably think of something every one of them did during the season. And again, I don't like to think it's been that long ago, but it was a great experience for me and just a great bunch of guys to coach. Thanks.
First of all, I'd like to say that it's a privilege and an honor to get this opportunity to come back to where you were raised, to your hometown, to an institution that helped make you who you are, is a really, really special opportunity. So I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee. I want to thank the guys on the team. I don't know how many people were involved in allowing me this opportunity. I don't know if I was elected or if it was a short straw. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But either way, it's special, and it's particularly special because I am awed as a coach and a teacher and a person who works in high schools with the leadership that we got and the coaches that we had and the fact that they're still here, from Wayne Blatt to Jerry Howerhand to Dave Bradman to Neil Riggs to all of them. I cannot tell you how special that is. And I think those of us who played in the programs, all the programs, we know that because we have children, some of us are coaches, and it was special. It was really, really, really special. And I guess that's where I'd start, which is Joe Battaglia couldn't be here, sent a very short text message, which I thought was great. He said, so many people think back to their sports days nostalgically and think they were a part of something special. And then he wrote, we were. and we were. We really were. That's, for me, it goes to the coaches, it goes to the leadership, it goes to the mentoring that we got, but it also goes to where we were in the lacrosse program. For me, this is a special part of my life. I feel like I was there at the creation. You know, I played for Frank and Lou. A lot of these guys played for Frank and Lou down on that field down at St. Lawrence campus, and it was interesting. Frank and Lou were fabulous, fabulous men, but it was old football jerseys, and my first stick, I'm not kidding, was wired together with picture wire. It was a broken St. Lawrence University stick that my father had brought home from St. Lawrence, and that was my first. I think I played with that. I honestly think I played with that. And then the 85 group was my brother's group, and really, really good friends of ours. Bradley told me last night, which I didn't know, which I'm definitely going to pull over them. It's the only losing season he ever had in lacrosse. But some of us were on that team too, so I guess we have to be blamed for that as well. But that was the first varsity season here at Canton High School, and we were a part of that. And then we got the opportunity to grow as a team and as players and as individuals. And then my senior year, we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to win a sectional championship, to get the opportunity to play at state level. I actually had no idea that we were the first team to win at the state level. That's also very special to me because I was part of that as a coach where I currently coach. One of my teams was the first to do that, and it's a very, very special moment. It's a special thing that I share with these guys. That's the other thing I would say is that we were a team. I mean, from Terry's national anthem tonight and at the state regional game to, the fact that we had a number of I mean, I said last night, the talent was below us. When I graduated in '87, the sophomore class had the talent, and the juniors had played defense, Billy Bascom in the goal. But we were a team. Everybody did their job. And by doing our jobs, we were able to be as successful as we were. And that, along with Wayne Willette's messages, along with Dave Bradman's messages, along with my father's messages, is what I try to incorporate with my teams every day. And so I thank him for all of that, and I thank you for the opportunity today. Thanks.
Somehow I ended up as Gator's stretching buddy, so
Well, I went last strategically, so I could have the time to tell the stories that Bradzer couldn't tell, and he wouldn't have an opportunity to rebut any of them. Sorry guys, this is a great looking group, real athletic group, but we're not young anymore, so if you guys need to get some water midway, feel free to do that. So I guess first of all, congratulations to all of the inductees into tonight's Hall of Fame proceedings. It's a great honor to be here, and there are some awesome memories that I have with this group. And my last time I saw John Filiatro, I think, was when he was driving a ball from on a direct kick from 35 yards out into the top corner to win national state championship game. So it's really an honor to be here with this group. It's also great to be back in Canton. I don't maybe been here 5 or 6 times in the last 30 years, and coming back, you really appreciate what a special place this really is, and how blessed we were to grow up here. I want to thank the members of the committee for the honor tonight, and for their very thorough vetting over the last 30 years. No one can accuse them of rushing to judgment, but we own that, and we beat the Salmon River in that sectional game. After we didn't, so we deserve to wait. So I want to start off the first round of thank yous with Bradzer. And let's just start with the data, because the data doesn't lie. He had 364 career wins, which puts him at number 20 all time in New York State, which is really... You think about the powerhouse teams that this state has in Long Island and the Syracuse area and elsewhere, that's really no small feat. And he's continuing to go on and be a builder now at SUNY Canton with the women's program. So just a terrific coach. He's a builder. He was a builder of programs, a builder of players, and he did some really amazing things during his time here. He developed countless players who ended up playing at the collegiate level. And during his time, Canton, for a very small program, as was alluded to earlier, we really punched above our weight class. And it was really remarkable. It was something that he deserves a lot of credit for. Also, that record landed him in the New York State chapter of the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame in 2008. So it's really quite a career. But those of you who know Bradzer can attest that he's a different kind of coach. First of all, he's a relentlessly positive guy. If you screwed up a drill in high school hockey, if you didn't have a puck sailing at your head, or you didn't receive a speech that would make a sailor blush, that was just sort of the expectation they had. And then you'd come out and play lacrosse, and you'd really screw up a drill, and we'd have to blow the whistle and stop, and he'd sort of come over and put his hand on the back of your neck and just be like, "Come on, puppy dog." That was really bad. That was the bad speech. So great teams aren't about individual players, and they're about creating the right culture, and that's really the skill that makes great coaches so special. Coach Krzyzewski, those of you who may have seen this before, talks about a team as sort of 5 weak individual fingers that come together and make a fist, and a fist can do damage. And I think that's a really good metaphor for Bradzer as well, only I would end it with a little hang loose. So a couple more things about Brazzer. He has this relaxed, positive energy that really made everyone want to do their best, and he was unflappable under pressure. It was very rare to see him yell or scream. He was just always cool and collected. He had this sort of zen-like calm that was infectious with the team. He could invoke Bob Dylan during a pregame speech, which I've never seen before. I think the 88 team and the 87 team and the other teams that Brazzer coached, really, they had a great culture, and all of that is under Brazzer. So I guess the other thing I would mention is he had great hair. He's gone a little high and tight now, but back in the day, he could do the salt and pepper thing, like a late '80s Nick Nolte haircut, and you'd see it in Section 10, just sort of flaunting his hair like this to the other coaches. So he had that going for him as well. Brazzer was objectively a great coach. We talked about the stats; they're really amazing. When you coach high school knuckleheads like us, you're not just a coach. You're a leader, you're a role model. Sometimes you're a policeman, more than once you're a psychiatrist. So Brazzer, thanks for excelling in all of those roles. You really did an amazing job. I will also just briefly mention Jim Shields, who was a terrific assistant for this team. I think he had a really positive impact on offense. And then finally, Lou Saltrelli and Frank Shields were mentioned earlier, but none of us would be here had they not taken it upon themselves to start a youth program in sort of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, playing with broken St. Lawrence sticks wired together with baling twine or whatever else. Without them, all the guys up here would have been playing baseball. And Jerry Howerhand, if you're back there, you should be happy about that because none of them could hit a curveball. So in addition to the fantastic coaches, I also want to thank the teachers and the administrators. The dirty little secret of being a scholar athlete is you have to be academically eligible to be able to play. And that was no small feat with this crew. I want to thank them for all their hard work, thankless work, largely, just keeping everybody on track to graduate, and in a few cases it even happened in 4 years. All of us have great memories of a lot of the people who are in this room, and some who are not, and I'm sure I'll forget a lot of names, but Mr. and Mrs. Chisholm, Denny Jones, Mr. Helena, Mr. Smilgan, Jerry Howerhand, Wayne Willett, Roger Ducharme, Neil Riggs, I can name 10 others, but we're really fortunate to have role models like those folks shaping us into who we are today. And I still, to this day, remember Mr. Chisholm walking in to Furman and I think freshman year after seeing our homework and saying, "If you guys are the future of America, invest in Russian war bonds." So to close out, just a few words about the teams of my Wolfpack. So what might have been. The team went 18-2 overall. I think we won every game downstate. The team went between 87 and 88. I think there were 6 or 7 folks who went on to play college lacrosse. Included a high school All-American, a couple of high school All-Americans, a college All-American. How we managed to lose to Salmon River, I still cannot, I still can't understand. The whole story was just like Hoosiers up until the end when they lost. But unfortunately, they're the Mulligans, and it's a good life lesson. Never take anything for granted, and don't ever look ahead. So just when we were getting excited and started to focus on some games downstate, it all sort of came to an end. So for all of you young athletes out there, don't ever look past the next game. I did, and just to wrap up, ask the team to send me their memories. We got a great group of folks here. There are a few who couldn't make it and who had some thoughts that they asked me to pass along. And Brazzer is very lucky that after 30 years we've forgotten half the stories, and the other half that we can remember, mostly inappropriate for this audience. So a few things that I'll mention. So Leith couldn't be here tonight, but he wrote, "Lacrosse with Brazzer was like going to a spa weekend after a season playing hockey for PJ." He went on to say, Brazzer